Gotta love these technical difficulties. It happens though. It's the beauty of it. Beauty of broadcasting. You know, just going through the punches as we are now on lap 4. And we are back live, folks, with the Alice Mike 275. Everybody's getting caught up. We're all back square, ready to go. So we are back in business. And as you can see, Kyle Milliken has taken the lead in that number 10 machine. Now, Ashton Crowder is not in the race anymore. So that is why you do not see him on the board, and he doesn't have any time there. So we are now down to 14 drivers, but Milliken's taking the lead. We've seen Milliken strong all in the recruitment races, Rick.
Absolutely. He has definitely shown his ability. Whoa, there are 4 wide there for a second.
They got a car loose in the middle of 1 and 2 at the apron. Yeah, it looks like 2 distinct packs have formed right now. You got about a 7 to 8 car pack, and then you have another 7 to 8 car pack. A few tenths of a second behind the main pack here. So, interesting strategy by all of these guys right now, as we see the bottom line is definitely prevailing here at Daytona, which is what you more than likely will see in these cars, as now you see the 00 there on the high line trying to get something formed up.
Yeah, the 00 and the 61 kind of been together there on the top for the last couple laps. They're staying steady, but they're not been able to make their way to the front yet.
They're holding up there.
Yeah, we got some good tight racing here between these competitors. That 10 and 2 are tandeming up. That pack in the back has kind of fallen a pretty good gap between themselves and this lead pack.
Yeah, the lead pack is definitely tighter.
Well, I was getting ready to say I'm still watching the lead pack, and I think those 2 cars are kind of hanging there with them. That bottom line is not as tight as it could be, and it's allowing those 2 guys to kind of stay there. They're dropping back now.
And it looks like also the back pack is definitely not as formed up as the rest of the field, which is going to cost them major time throughout this portion of the race, simply due to, 1, the amount of cars, and 2, to them not pushing very hard. So you may see 2 very different packs for this entire race already, which is not shocking to see. But as we can see right now, they're back there trying to catch that toe, but it's gonna have to get a little dicey up front maybe for that back pack to start catching up, and we may have a full field here at the front, as Kyle Milliken is still taking the lead with Mark Sikosi in second, Chapman in third, Aaron in fourth, Crowell rounding out the top 5, Don DeGroot in the number 61 machine in 6th, Bostic in 7th, Diltz in 8th, Brandon Barrier in 9th, Carpenter rounding out the top 10. As you can see, they are making slow gains from about 9th on back. They are making very slow gains up to this pack, and they may actually have caught them, Rick and Elliott.
It's pretty close. We can drop back a bit and take a peek at that back pack behind the 19 of Diltz.
Well, Brandon Barrier's already there, and then Michael Carpenter's behind him with Kenneth Bradstock behind him. I imagine they've all getting a little bit of toe there. They'll be up to the back here if they want to be in just a second.
Yep, there's Brandon Barrier. He's kind of filled in, and he's actually helping out that high side.
And we have a 3-car pack forming as well right there. You saw in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen for a second. They are closing in, so we now have the top lane and the bottom lane that's going to be prevailing here as you now look along at Michael Carpenter in that number 5 machine. That high line's holding it pretty together. I'm very surprised that they're able to do this right now with only 3 cars up there.
Yeah, when you get 3 cars up there, you can go a lot quicker than 2, obviously, and so with that bottom line kind of being a little fragmented, if they wanted to go to the front all the way, they probably could.
Absolutely could, as we're now looking back at some of the field. Thomas Thompson out of Rockingham.
Michael Carpenter's definitely staying. He's staying about 7/10 off of that lead pack, but if he falls back any farther, he's probably going to lose him.
Yep, and you have a pass right now between those two cars that were just on your screen, but as we can see, the action's all in the front with Kyle Milliken still leading here at Daytona. We have a blinker there and about 5 cars deep on the bottom row. Always
yeah, that's Ty Bostic. Yep.
He's in that very, very, very famous Wonder Bread car. Gotta love throwing that back to Talladega Nights.
You're not first, you're last.
Exactly. That's very true, Elliot. Very true, especially here at Daytona. It feels like even if you get a second place finish, it's not even good enough. It's like it's literally your first or your last here at the Super Speedways. So looking at the field, they're definitely catching up now. That high line is getting a nice run, and they look to the outside. That is the 0. Looking right there, Josh Aaron taking the lead. There goes Brandon Berry back to the bottom line. What a move by that number 58 machine. And they look to have a bit of a run. So Brandon was like, you know what, I'm going to have the high line, go up a little bit. Now I'm going to go back down to the bottom line. And Brandon Berrier's up to 3rd from his starting spot of about 4th. So he made his way back a little bit. Now he's back up to the front there in that 58 machine.
Yeah, he's definitely moving forward. He was in 11th position just a couple laps ago.
And, you know, that's how quick your position can change at Daytona or Talladega. You can be 17th one lap, and 3 laps from now, you can be all the way up in the front. It's just how you play that draft and how you execute your moves on the track. As we can see now, everybody is pretty much single file from 1st all the way back to 14th. Throughout the field, they're all running that bottom line. As Brandon Berrier, as soon as I said that,
making a move.
And I don't know if that was the best move right there. I don't know if anybody's going to go with him. He may get freight trained on the bottom line, or from the bottom line here, because he has no support, which is always hard. You want to make a move early on to get yourself up to the lead, and then nobody goes with you, and then just, as you can see, drop it all the way back.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing here at Daytona. And with any type where there's pack racing, the opportunity for success and for failure is right there. With no one behind him, he's going to fall off relatively quickly.
Yep, high risk, high reward here at Daytona for sure, as Kyle Milliken has regained the lead, and Brandon Berry slides down in front of the 19th machine of Justin Gillis.
So back with our leaders. Kyle Milliken is still holding on to 1st. And there's a solid 2 and 3 and 4 car pack there at the front. They can run nose to tail for a while.
Well, they've all got a full fuel load, so how many laps do you think that is, guys? 35, maybe 40?
Yeah, I'd say about 35 or 40 laps here, so they have to at least make 2 stops, I would say. Lap 35 or 40, and then probably somewhere between the lap 70 to lap 80 range. And they should be very close to the end, since we are going 110 laps today at Daytona. So I would say about 35 to 40. And, you know, always you have to keep in mind that 10 car, yes, he's getting a push from behind, but he is going full throttle more than likely throughout this entire track, throughout the entire race. If you're up front, you're wasting gas. If you're behind that leader, you can get off about 2/3, maybe even more of the throttle, and the draft will carry you. So all those guys behind the number 10 machine are really saving gas right now.
They are. In fact, there's a good opportunity. When you look at the overall, their mileage, if you can do 40 laps on that tank of fuel and you're in 1st, that guy behind you probably can do 44 or 45. So again, it comes down to pit stop strategy. And of course, right now you've got a lot of jockeying. That high line has reformed a bit, and there are some takers out there. I think Don DeGroot. The 6, the 9, the 19.
3 wide.
Yep.
Brandon
is
Brandon in the middle.
Whoa, they're wrecking. Massive wreck off of 4, or off of 2 rather, my bad, off of 2, involving that number 58 machine of Brandon Berrier, and multiple cars involved here. And our first caution, lap 16 here at Daytona. Oh man, that 3 wide racing, guys.
So we saw Ryan Chapman involved, Kenny Bradstock also involved, and I think Brandon Berrier was also.
Yeah, unfortunate for that team due to the significance of this race, and it just looks like a product of bad positioning on the track by some of the drivers. But let's see what happened coming off 2. You have Brandon Berrier there in the middle, and you have the 6 up in the high line with the 9 of Crowell behind him. Got Brandon Berrier obviously with the run, and he just comes right on down into the 61 machine.
He did. He tagged the right rear of the 61. That took them both up into the 6.
With nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. And that was Ryan Chapman there with the in the 6. He was trapped.
Yep, and I think you had another car get into it right there.
74. He hit right into the door of the 58.
And 3 wide at Daytona is just not the same as 3 wide at Talladega, and they were probably in one of the hardest spots, is coming off of turn 2, trying to be 3 wide, and it just bit them.
Yes, it did. Well, we are probably going to see some takers down on pit road once pit road is open for these drivers, which it does not look like. Maybe is open. You had 1 taker down pit road. That was a 61 machine. So interesting strategy here.
I think the 61 had some damage. That was Don DeGroot. He was involved. He's probably down there trying to figure out just whether he can wait out the damage or is it just good to go.
Right, absolutely. That is very correct. And as we see, we have 6 cars right there did not go down pit road. So a lot of cars torn up already early on in this race. You have about half the field on the track, half the field off the track on pit road as we see cars are now making their way.
We got Michael Carpenter not in the accident, went down pit road, Thomas Thompson, and then the other 4 cars that I see right now were all involved in the accident.
Yep, there goes Carpenter. They just exited pit road as everybody else is making their way around the track. You have a couple more cars exiting pit road there. And that you were right, Elliot. That is the danger of Daytona, especially coming off the corners. With everybody having different setups, the air is going to affect the cars so differently because it's not a fixed setup race. All these guys do not have the same set. So every little portion of what happens to a race car on a racetrack will affect every single car differently. So that may have been just a product right there, too, of how these cars are handling early on. But unfortunate for some of those guys. Hate to see it, but hopefully it's not too bad for some of them. Maybe they can get back around and get some points.
Absolutely. Coming off of turn 2 and right in the middle of the tri-oval, this track it just feels like it gets really thin. It's pretty difficult to be 3 wide in those 2 spots.
Which we probably won't see the last of 3 wide racing here at Daytona. It's definitely going to be a factor later in the race, especially when people are trying to make moves for the win.
Well, and we've seen that many times before. And, a lot of times when you're doing these open setups, you can make it fast as can be, but as you're coming off that corner, these cars tend to snap around on you. If you go with the standard setup, you're not going to be quite as fast, but when you're tweaking it, you run that balance between super fast, but also you're looking for super steady and stable through the corners, and especially corner exit.
The 61 involved in that accident looks like he's got most or all of his repairs done. He's been able to stay on the lead lap here. He's coming around to catch up with the field.
Yeah, that is the Don DeGroot machine. So right now on the track, we have about 10 or 11 cars that are going to be here taking the green flag once the pace car drops down on pit road, and we should be good to go with 19 out of 110 complete here tonight, and Alice Mike 275.
Still a long way to go, and we should have a couple of guys on different fuel strategies now, so we'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, I love the because of the fact it is a smaller field. Now, you have about half the field coming down, half the field not. So, this goes back to my main point, 2 different packs. As we saw early on in the race, you may see that happen throughout the race, especially with the lead pack, as they are now making their way off of turn 4, about to go green here. Pace car drops down, and you have that number 10 machine in the high line, and we here at Daytona, and the 10 just took a massive lead, and I would expect him to drop down to the bottom.
Well, he most certainly better. Well, now that top line's kind of breaking up, so there he goes.
And you got a massive push from the 00 to that 2 machine. It's getting a little bit loose. Yeah, this is a big push from that 00, which is always treacherous, pushing here at Daytona, no matter where you are.
Looks like the 61 might be have a little too much damage. Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble keeping up in the pack there. So that's tough luck for him.
Yeah, that's Don DeGroot. He had some rear damage. You saw as in the earlier shot that his side damage looked fine, but there was a big crinkle in the rear of the vehicle.
Yeah, he most likely has some front end damage where he got turned into the wall as well, and that's the damage that really slows you down here. So.
Yes, it is. As Kyle Milliken, our main leader of this race, is still out front with the number 2 machine behind him. Always good to see Mark Sikoshi running good. Josh Aaron back in 3rd. Ty Bostic in 4th. Alan Crowell in that number 9 machine, running in 5th. Justin Dilt 6th. Thomas Thompson 7th. Carpenter in 8th. Robley in 9th. And Dan Withers rounding out your top 10 so far with approaching 22 laps completed here tonight. And you know, this is what I was expecting. A smaller field would produce some of these very single car files. As we can see right now, everybody is nose to tail on that bottom line. You have some cars closer than others. Obviously, between the 2 and the 00, they seem to be pretty hooked up there, wanting to make a move. But as we see, everybody is kind of taking their time now, being a little bit more patient, and hopefully just riding around to the end of the race.
This is probably that first spot where we're going to get that long run, and then the first 5 or 6 cars are going to have to pit long before the 5 of Carpenter and the 70 of Robley. I guess he's the 85, sorry, and the 77 of Dan Withers. You know, when they do that, if those 3 cars can hook up and just stay tight together, they can put some distance on them.
They sure can, and I'm looking right now at my calculations, and if those cars that pit on lap 17 and everything goes green, they'll pit again on lap 52, and they will pit again on lap 88. And that should take them to the end of the race. As we see that number 2 get very loose. He's getting a push from that 00. But right now, you have really 2 different strategies going. You have 35 to 40, 70, 80, run to the end, and you have the 17, 52, 88. And I mean, those are lap counts with those 2 different strategies there. So you should, you're right on point there, Elliot, with what we will see out of these top 9 or 10 cars.
Yeah, and their last pit stop should be probably shorter. I have to look at my math on that, but would probably be a shorter pit stop than the other guys. And like I said, this is going to break apart, assuming there's no cautions when these pit stops happen. And if the 3 guys that are out there left can hook up together, they can go just as fast as the pack. And part of the reason I'm saying that is beyond the 10 and the 2, and now the 00 as well. The other guys, they're not really staying real tight together, so it kind of slows the whole pack down.
Well,
It absolutely does.
The top 6 it's kind of like there's feast. The top 6 did not pit, and the bottom 6 did. So you've got some different pit strategies, some different approaches to how this race is going to go. We'll see how it all plays out.
We will see, as we are now almost a quarter of the way done here tonight in the Speed Demon NSRL Grand Nationals season opener. Always fun opening up at Daytona, and you can see those skies are it's getting a little bit into dusk now. We may get a night race depending on how late this runs, but as you can see, you still have that number 10 machine. He's been in the lead the entire race, and has really just taken control in that number 1 position with that Camaro. And looking now, yeah, everybody seems to be pretty single file. So nothing too crazy going on. I would expect everybody to start riding around. So, you know, it's a part of pack racing. It's a part of the strategy. I actually prefer staying out. If I'm the 10, the 2, and the 00, I pit together. They have been nose to tail. They have been the cleanest and the most effective drafters. So if I were them, I would pit when they need to and just focus on making all 3 of them go out to the front. And as you can see, Justin Dillstrom to the outside of number 9. I like their strategy, staying out on that pit stop and just pushing it as long as you can, because you got to remember, you don't use as much gas under caution. So your pit window extends just a little bit, even though it is a big racetrack. It'll extend it. We have cars jumping to the outside now. We'll see what happens. We got some takers now trying to make some moves.
I think they're also, you know, they're coming off a 4, they're getting a run, and they're balancing between, you know, should I stay in the pack, or is there an opportunity for me to duck out, maybe pick up a dancing partner?
Absolutely. Should I stay or should I go is the question that every driver asks themselves when they're racing at super speedways, as the pack is getting pretty tight now with 3 cars on the high line and about 7 to 8 cars on the bottom, with those 10, 2, and 00 up nose to tail. And this is what we typically see here at Daytona. A lot of close racing side by side as you looking along now at the number 5 machine of Michael Carpenter.
And going back to the pit stops and everything, you got to have teammates here. And I just wanted to point out that the 10 and the 2 are not teammates. And the 00 of Josh Aaron, his teammate, was Ashton Crowder, so he doesn't have a teammate right now either.
Wow, so it's almost every man for himself out there, depending on where you are on the track. And so, yeah, it'll play a major factor, and that was one of my keys to the race, making sure you go on pit road with somebody you like. And as you see the 00 jumping to the high line, he's like, you know what, I'm going to try to take the lead here, pulling to the outside of that 2 machine. He's getting the push from the number 9 and the 19 as Carpenter jumps to the outside. So we have 2 distinct lines forming.
Yeah, major run here on the outside. And
now the 9, the 19, and the 10, they are all teammates.
Well, there we go. And that shows a little something there, because the 9 and the 19 have been around each other all race long. So
as well as the 2. So it'll be interesting if they leave the 10 car up there. He's been pretty fast and he's using a lot of fuel, so maybe that's a good strategy. But he is left out there by himself.
That 2 car seems very committed to the 10 stack bumper. He has not tried to make a move on Kyle at all. He's right there pushing him to the lead, essentially.
I believe we're coming up on lap traffic here in just a second.
Yeah, I heard that over the radio too, Elliot. I'm not seeing any lap cars. Oh, there he is. Yep, we have the number 61 of Don DeGroot, who is that car, that's a lap down. He is now on the apron, and he is hopefully keeping that car on the bottom. But that does shake up the field quite a bit. Kind of broke him up in the middle of 1 and 2. So we may see a lot of jockeying for position here, as you have a lot of runs being made. That outside line has a run going into turn 3. We just haven't seen them have the power as the inside line has. But they now are equal. 5 cars on the top, 5 cars on the bottom, and we will see who prevails.
And I misspoke. The 10 and the 2 are teammates. It's the 00 that's not. So it's a relatively large team. The 10, the 2, the 9, the 19, and 1 other car, the 7. Oh, caution on the track.
Yeah, we do have a caution. I believe that was Don DeGroot. I believe Don possibly lost it on the track.
Oh, he's driving a damaged race car. We could jump back and...
He has. We just crossed lap 30, and looking and speaking with the other admins, it looks like the caution was thrown.
Yeah,
manually.
I have Don moving right now, so I'm not sure what that was for.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Well, whatever it is, it possibly could have been a stage in.
Could have been debris in the track.
That's what it is. It's a stage in, fellas.
Well, we have a stage in, and Kyle Milliken took the stage 1 win here, followed by Mark Sikosi in that number 2 car in the 2 position. Milliken looks pretty strong so far here tonight. He's taken the lead, very confident driver out there, and this is going to be where the strategy is going to play a major role in how the rest of this race plays out, because I would imagine stage 2 is going to happen sometime, which would give about a 40-lap run to the end.
We'll double check on that, John. It may be lap 60, but we'll see how that plays out. I'm guessing we're going to see that lead pack all come down pit road. Now the question is it going to be just fuel? They've got a lot of tires.
I say just fuel. I mean, I don't see a reason to use them unless you wreck and slide your tires. Definitely I would use them there because that would play a factor. I just say gas and go.
A little bit of gamesmanship being played there.
Yes, there is. And just to confirm, we have a stage 1 break, which we just had at lap 30, stage 2 break at lap 60, and stage 3 is from lap 60 on to the end at 110. So yes, there are 3 stages tonight here in the NSRL League as we have everybody coming down pit road. Let's see who's going to be the first one off. Obviously, you have the control car of Kyle Milliken.
There's a few getting tires, not everybody, but it looks like it's mainly going to be gas and go.
With the small field, I would probably take tires as well, unless maybe I was the 2 or the 10.
So based on what I've seen, it looks like Carpenter and the pit timing, Michael Carpenter just took gas and go, but he had taken tires in the previous pit stop at lap 17. The rest looks like a 15 or 14 to 15 second pit stop. They took 4 tires.
Yeah, and we were talking about all that pit strategy before, not thinking about the stage break. So they'll be able to run the whole stage on one tank here.
Yes, they will. But what's going to be very important is that stage 3. Stage 3 is take that back, 3, and that could be the deciding factor of the race, guys, when you pit in that 3rd stage.
Absolutely. So the leader's hoping it's all going to be green flag.
I would, if I was the leader, I would too. I would hope it stays green.
Question is, do you short pit and then use that opportunity to chase back up to the field? Of course, with a dancing partner, you've got to have a pit buddy that's going to come in with you, or you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, if I had at least 2 teammates that would pit with me at the 15 lap mark or whatever it is that short pits that takes me to the end of the race, that's something I would do, and then try to hold those 3 cars together, and can definitely make some time on the big pack.
So the lights are out on the pace car. We're about to go back to green with 77 laps to go here at the Alice Mike 275 at Daytona. This is the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series.
Looks like we still have 11 cars on the lead lap I'm showing, but one of them is Mr. DeGroot, so he will drop back again. So we have 10 cars running at speed right now.
This seems to be a great league with this NSRL group. They've got a number of different classes of races, Cup Series and Truck Series. They're sponsored Affordable SEO and Elevated Outdoors.
Yeah, a lot of great sponsors there for this league, and it's good to see a lot of strong drivers here tonight showing up for this. So kudos to all the guys that are out there. Kudos to the guys that are damaged and are still racing. It takes a lot of courage to go back out there, especially when your car is damaged, to keep going and get those points. As the pace car dives down pit road, we have the 10 and the 5 up there, and we have a green flag racing here
Green,
tonight
green.
at Daytona. And as you can see, the 10 of the 2 locked up already, guys. That has been the story of this race. Kyle there and Mark are nose to tail again. So I would expect them to do this all race until Mark kind of gets tired of being in a P2 position and says, hey, I want to win this race.
So, marginal value, incremental. Pretty much everybody out there except for Carpenter took tires. So I got him out there and got him in the outside position, but that little extra for that fresh rubber and at the low side was able to push forward, and he wound up back here currently in 6th.
Yeah, he's back there in 6th as we have a car jumping to the outside, trying to get a run. Nobody's going with him. I believe
that's Justin Diltz.
Yep, Justin Diltz trying to make his way up on the high line, and that's the high risk, high reward game you play here at Daytona. It's a little bit like Vegas. If you go up to the high, it's dry up there, unfortunately. But you gotta keep in mind it's a long race. He does drop back down right there, and also there are stages, so plenty of time if you do get in the back to pick back up. As we're looking now at the top drivers here, Kyle Milliken in 1st, Sikochi in 2nd, Aaron in 3rd, Bostic in 4th, Carpenter round up the top 5, Justin Diltz dropping down in the 6th position. Good, strong comeback from Dan Withers there. He had that early race incident into the wall before the green flag, so good to see him run up there in 7th, Crowell in 8th, Thompson 9th, Robley in 10th, and the groups rounding out your top 11 cars on the track.
I almost forgot that happened to Dan there before the race started. He must not have had too much damage, but yeah, he's able to keep up with the pack here.
It does look like he does have a little bit of damage on the right side. It's good to see him out there. Gotta love Dan in the league. He's been a strong driver in a lot of series we've been running in, so good to see him run up there in that 7th position in the number 77. You got 777s there. I don't know if that's lucky or don't know if that's just by coincidence, but a lot of 7s in the number 77 camp, so we'll see what Dan can do throughout the rest of this race as we are now 38 laps into our 110-lap event here tonight, supporting Alice Mike in the 275. Great cause, great name for this race. Wish that Brandon Barrier could still be out on the track, but obviously all of these guys are still racing for him tonight and his family.
So with 73 laps to go, we've got 38 in the books. Kyle Milliken is still showing us the way, followed by Mark Sikochi. 00 of Aaron is in 3rd, Bostic in 4th, and Carpenter 5th.
Yeah, we're back to the single file racing here with about 1 to go until the stage 2 end, and it looks like to be pretty calm. We have a pretty calm race.
I think there was an incident in the back of the pack. I think Ryan Chapman kind of went off track a bit and came back on. Remember, Ryan was damaged in that first caution we had. We can jump back to that and see what we see here.
He had fell some laps down since that accident that he was in, and I think the car must have just blew up and he parked it.
That's what it kind of looks like right now. It looks like the car just decided to say, you know what, I am too tired.
Yep, I'm done.
I'm done, yep. And unfortunate for that machine as we are now looking back at our leaders with 71 to go.
Well, when you have that amount of nose damage on these cars, there's a really good opportunity to have some other damage that's under the hood, and frankly, they just won't last.
No, they won't. Those oil temps or water temps just go to the roof, and it's a product of how these cars react when front end.
Rick, I'm looking at this 19 car, and I believe it is it's a Camaro, but the numbers on there remind me of Dodge. And little birdie told me something the other day.
They do. They have that Dodge look. Yeah, there's a good chance. Well, I guess there's some debate. Is Dodge going to come back into the Cup Series? Don't know. But I think with the next-gen car, there's certainly a lot of interest with other manufacturers getting in. I think the standardization and the this approach with this Cup car has at least perked some ears up and spurred some interest. So we'll
Sure,
see.
and a great example of that is Trackhouse Racing, just showing what they can do this year with Ross Chastain, with Daniel Suarez. It doesn't really matter what kind of team you have. The field is as level as it has been in, honestly, decades. These cars, especially even in the Xfinity series, a lot of them are pretty much standard. So Dodge making his comeback, who knows? Awesome to see Dodge make a return, I have to say. I'm not a Dodge fan by any means, but I'm a Camaro guy, but I would still love to see it.
Well, we got to have all the American manufacturers represented, and it kind of takes me back to the olden days. You know, when we had Ford, Chevy, Dodge, you know, our affiliates, Buick, Pontiac, Mercury. We had everything, and it'd be nice to get back to, you know, have Dodge in there as well, so we'd have one more manufacturer.
Exactly. Plus they're cool looking cars. I got to say, I hate saying that. They would look good on the track with the Mustang and the Camaro.
Yeah, I assume it would be the Challenger on them. That's what. Well, maybe the Charger. I don't know which one it would have to be the Challenger. It's a coupe.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the challenge right now, guys, because I know that Dodge had talked about putting those, discontinuing those lines sometime in 2024. So what they come out with may be a whole different model. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it's been rumored, and I believe it's true, that the Camaro line is also. So it's very interesting what NASCAR is going to look like here in the next 3 or 4 years, with the Camaros exiting, the Challenge, eventually Chargers, whatever it may look like.
We're all going to be racing SUVs.
Well, in another series that we broadcast, I've never seen Audi out in front, so don't know what Audi's going to do. But we never know what you're going to see in NASCAR here in the next 5 or 10 years. But I guess, you know, they've made amazing strides. I love the next gen cars, and so we'll see what happens. They, you know, never know. They may keep the Camaro and Mustang as sort of a legacy kind of car. Who knows?
Speaking out front, the 10 and the 2 are still out there. Josh Aaron running third. Ty Bostic and Michael Carpenter are bringing up fourth and fifth here.
Absolutely. I see a lot of Camaros out front with one singular Mustang in third. So, yeah, Camaro, Mustang, Camaro, and another Camaro.
Right now we are at lap 45, 46 laps here. We're approaching the halfway point. That'll be at lap 55.
Like the two, maybe either the two got a little pushy there, or he just dipped out to get some air there.
Well, I would think so, you know, especially again with these, we talked about this earlier, with these open setups, you know, you can tweak them to be as on the edge as possible, and that includes setting it up in such a way where you do compromise potentially a little bit of your aero and your airflow through the vehicle, and overheating is definitely a risk.
Yeah, these cars still have tape on them. You can play with that, put a little on, take a little off, and you know, loose is fast. So some of these guys like it that way. Sometimes it doesn't work in the draft, but I think these guys got a handle on it.
I think they do too. And looking now, we are now closing in. We're coming to 14 and 13 to go here in the stage. So expect racing to get a little bit dicier out, as Kyle Milliken is still out front. And you know, those drivers behind Kyle, they're like, I don't want to see Kyle on the stage. I want to take the momentum away from him. So I would expect to see things get pretty dicey with about 5 or 6 to go.
Well, since this is a league race and this is their first one of the season, you've got not only points for finishing, but you've also got these incremental points for leading a lap, for where you finish in a stage, for stage points, and those add up over the course of the season. So it's important to stay out, to race to each of these stage breaks, and as we saw Don DeGroot going around, stay in. You're going to pick up points for making it around.
Absolutely. As you were saying that, Rick, that 00 car is very loose off of corner exit. I've been watching him the last couple times. It seems like his car kind of drifts up, especially off of 2, and gets a little bit loose. So definitely need to pay attention to that with the stage winding down and later on in the race, seeing how that air affects his car. It definitely seems to have a loose condition, which, like you said, loose is fast, but also you're playing a fine line between, keeping your car straight and keeping your car into the wall.
Well, and it may be more than that. It may be if he is snapping 2 and not so much out of 4, but definitely out of 2, it may be a balance issue. You've got to, with these cars, and you're tuning them, you're setting them up, and if that ratio and that balance between the cross weights aren't perfect, that car has a tendency to snap a little on your corner exit, and that rear end tends to come around.
Yeah, and that's going to play a major role when these guys are side by side. We already saw a little bit of the product of that in the first accident we had coming off the 2. And, Rick, I don't know. It seems like every 2 monster. I'm not saying we're going to have a turn 2 monster in this race, but that wreck that we had early in the race didn't happen off turn 2. So, who knows what's going to happen here at Daytona. But the monster may get you no matter where you are on the track, as we are now coming to 10 to go in stage 2 with Milliken still leading the way around.
Then we'll find out just how loose Josh Aaron's car is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As we see.
We'll be good till we're not.
Good point, Rick. You're good until you're not. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. And everybody,
the field's coming up on Brandon Barrier. He was involved in that first accident. He's back out on the track now. He's out of the way there.
Good to see him, back on the track. Even if he is 15 laps down, it's still good for points. It's still nice. So kudos out to him for keeping it on the track and making it go around. So we have now gotten down to about 9 to go until the stage break at lap 60. That'll be the end of stage 2. As you can see, that 00. I don't know if it's his handling. I don't know if it's Rick. I don't know if it may be the cross weights in the car, but that car seems to be a little bit just all over the place.
Yeah, I tend to agree. As he's coming off of 2, he struggles a bit to stay on the bumper of the 2.
Yeah, I've just kind of focused on his car and see what happens there, because you now have that 2 kind of falling back just a little bit. So we'll see if he maybe try to get a run with Carpenter behind him.
Well, what we can do is we can try to ride along with that 00 and see what we see.
Sure, yeah, let's do that. Sounds like a great idea. Yeah, he has that steering all the way to the left. Very interesting here at Daytona. I've never actually seen that before.
That's just an offset, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a heck of an offset going on right now.
Seemed okay off the 4 right there, so let's follow him around just another half a lap here, see what happens off turn 2.
So he was a little loose through that tri-oval. Drifted up a bit, but tucking in behind the 2. Here's the real tell what happens here as he exits 2. No real movement on the steering wheel.
No, but what I got to say, it does drive. So not really sure if he's driving one-handed or two-handed, but with our view right now, it looks like he's on a Sunday stroll here at Daytona. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, he's drinking some coffee with that other hand. We got about 7 laps to go in the stage here. I assume we give out some points at the end of each stage, so maybe business will pick up a little bit these last 5 or 6 laps.
00 seems like he wants to go to that high line. Maybe that first taker to jump to the outside whenever that move is made. Ooh, dropping down below the apron right there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of movement for sure.
I think we have one car on the outside right now. Don't believe that was on purpose. Looks like he cycled back in at the back of the field. I believe that was Dan
the
Withers.
77 of Dan Withers. That's correct.
Coming to 5 to go here in stage number 2. Milliken still out front with Mark Sikosi second, Aaron in third, Boston in fourth, Carpenter round out the top 5, Dilson sixth, Crowell in seventh, and the rest of the field is scrolling across the top of your screen right now.
So will the 2 pull out and hopefully get some takers and possibly go for that stage win?
Well, I think if we see a move, it's going to come from third on back. Those 2 up front are pretty well stuck together, I think.
I would second that at 100%. 100% would second that. I think that number 2 machine of Mark is pretty content being in P2 right now. Now, at the end of the race, I don't know about how, but right now, he's happy, I believe, right there behind him. And they seem to be working really well together as the 00 is very close to that 2-car bumper. So, you know, there's a saying, you don't push the pusher. So hopefully you don't see that, because that never ends well when you push the pusher here at a super speedway. But you never know, as we are coming into turn 3 and going to be coming out of turn 4 with 3 to go in the stage. And if I had to make a bet right now, I think the move's going to come from that 22 machine.
Yeah, we were talking about teammates earlier. The 22 machine is a member of the Southern Esports Motorsports team, and of course Michael Carpenter is with iRacing Warriors Motorsports, and they are affiliates, so they're pretty much the same as teammates. So we'll see if they work together at all.
We'll see. That 2 car is giving the 10 car a heck of a shove right now.
He is, with just 3 laps to go at the end of this stage. Oh, whoa!
Whoa!
There's that loose.
There it is. We called it a little bit early, but that was exactly what I was talking about. He definitely got loose off of 4. Wow, what a save by the 00 machine. Makes me a little nervous though, going too wide, I would say.
Well, I wonder, I didn't really notice at the time if maybe that 22 had pulled up on his rear end there, and that's going to make that exacerbated now.
That's a fair point.
We are now coming to lap 59. Just a few to go here in the stage. Who's going to make the move? And look, there it is. I called it. That number 22 machine went to the outside with Carpenter behind them. And I believe the stage end will come when they cross the line the next time by. So if you're going to make a move, you've got to do it now. You have Carpenter on the high side, 22 up there.
Well, he blinked a little, so Michael had to let off there.
Yeah, the momentum is a little killed, and he continues to blink. Oh, 00's loose. Coming off of 2. Things are getting dicey here. The NSRL. Let's see what's going to happen off turn 4. Turn 4 always is the most exciting track. Don't know if we're having any takers here, but as it looks, I believe Kyle Milliken will be getting this stage 2 win as soon as the caution is thrown. Caution has not been thrown yet.
I think we're going to finish this lap or either on the back stretch here. The pits are closed.
Pits are closed. So we are still racing here in stage 2, so a move can still be made as we see cars over the outside, a little loose there.
Oh.
And cars dropping out of the bottom. There goes the 22 machine. Here they come circling around turn 3. Who is going to get the stage 2? Kyle Milliken again. Will that 2 try to make a move? He seems pretty content right now. The double zero's up there. And Kyle Milliken should get the stage 2 win, and he in fact does. So Kyle Milliken, your stage 1 and your stage 2 winner tonight in the Alice Mike 275.
Well, there was definitely a good run by the 19 trying to get up there for sure.
Yeah, the 22 and the 5 pulled out there, and looked like Ty was having some connection issues, kind of ruined their run, and everybody else just kind of stayed on the bottom and pulled up and made up some spots there.
Well, I expect we'll see a good bit of takers here for pit road.
I would definitely agree with you there, Rick. I would believe everybody's going to come down because you cannot go the rest of the way on 1 tank of gas. So come in, fill it up. I'd even say get some tires. You're right at the midpoint, just a little bit further than halfway in this race. So might as well come on and get some tires. I don't think track position is a huge factor right now just due to the size of the field. So I don't think it matters where you start. Just come down, get gas, get tires, get back out there, and put yourself in a position to win this race once turn 4 comes around on lap 110.
You know, interestingly enough, they've had to go around an extra lap here to catch back up with that pace car. So we are now at the 49 laps to go, probably 48 by the time they they get back to the stripe. Plus, you're going to have burn off a few laps for this stage break as well. So they may be down to 45 laps potentially before we go back to green. And can you make it on 45?
I'm guessing no. But like you guys said, there's 9 cars on the lead lap. There's plenty of rubber in the pits. Might as well come in and take it.
Might as well. I suspect everybody down here, I don't stay out unless you want to try to short pit, which, yeah, no, I don't see anybody's gonna stay out now. I see the 10 and the 2 right nose to tail coming out pit road. And if I was the 10, I'd just keep it steady. Just keep on doing what he's been doing and keep that car out front. He's led the majority of the laps tonight. And why not continue his success?
Yeah, they might as well keep doing what they're doing and make somebody pass them. They've proven they can run up front and run in a line, and nobody's been able to get around them yet.
So for those top 4 cars, that was tires and fuel. With some quick pit times, Kyle Milliken shows a pit time of 14:63 and Josh Aaron a 14:40 in that double zero. So some quick pit times by the top 5. As you cycle back through position 6, 7, 8, we saw some extended pit times, 16 and 17 seconds. It's not really going to hurt you much here. You're all going to be, at this point, this is it.
Yeah, it definitely is. This is coming down to the later portions of this race. If I had to pick a strategy here, I'd try to split this stage right in half. It'll get you out probably first one up pit road, so you don't have to worry about coming down again because the fuel window is very close. It's about 35 to 40 laps, and right now we are sitting just about, let me do my handy-dandy math real quick.
Hey, do you guys want to see if we can raise one of the drivers here and get, maybe reach out to Michael Carpenter?
Sure, why not? Let's see if we can get him in the booth.
Hey, Michael Carpenter, this is Rick Souza in Race Control. How are you?
Hey, Rick, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. So we saw you trying to move out, take that high line, going towards that stage, and then possibly saw a little bit of blinking with the 22 in front of you.
Yeah, we had a pretty good run there, and then I started he started blinking. It spooked me, so I backed out of it. And then by that time, we were toast. We just didn't have anybody go with us. I just didn't feel. I didn't trust him.
Sure, totally understand that. Well, it's a smaller field tonight, and you do have to pit one more time. So, what's your strategy right now? You're going to pit with the leaders. You're going to go with who you've been around all race. What you got?
I'm probably going to pit with the leaders. I'm on a good tire strategy here, so I just got tires. So once we get, I'm not going to have to get tires again. And everybody has gotten tires that I've seen in front of me, so I'm betting on them trying to get more tires and me get track position that way. But we'll see how it goes. But I'm definitely going to stay with the leaders because the guys up front here seem to be more steady. So
all right, we'll let you get back to it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
That was Michael Carpenter, the number 5 machine there, third car in the high line, driving that IWM Broadcast Network paint.
Wanted to let everybody know that we also had Dan Withers with an EOL for this start here. He drove through too many pit stalls on pit lane that time.
Hate to see that for Dan there, as we are now back to green. Final stage of tonight's race at Daytona. You have the 19 closing in on the 10 car. Let's see what's going to happen here. Is the 10 going to drop down? What's going to happen? They have the run as the field is very much spread out. And guys, this reminds me of early 2010s tandem racing there, right there, coming into turn 1 rather, as you see cars start to break up a little bit.
Yeah, and this is the first time that the 10 and the 2 haven't been together, so we'll see how that goes.
Yes, it is, as we have the field is very much spread out right now. But just to keep things in perspective, the 10, the 19, and the 2 are all teammates. So they have a plan there. I remember us speaking about that earlier in the race. So a little bit of gamesmanship from some of those guys, and they are taking control of this race.
It's all about the plan.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We've been in many races, all 3 of us in the broadcast booth, where we've had to stay together and prevail at the end and be together as a team. And that's what wins at super speedways. When you have teammates, your chances of winning are much greater than if you're all by yourself.
Well, yeah, you definitely have to have somebody helping you, and it's always better if it's your teammate. You know what they're going to do, and they know what you're going to do.
Sure, it definitely is. Looks like that 22 Wonder car is still blinking a little bit, so always a little bit of an issue trying to navigate that. You don't know where that car is going to land.
So for those viewers who may not understand, what exactly does it mean when you see a car blink like that and come back?
Sure. So what blinking is to get technical, it's when you have a little bit of a lapse of an image, put it like that. And what happens is the car basically blinks like a Christmas tree. So throughout the rest of this race, you'll see the car go away and come back. And what that does, it doesn't take them out of the race. It doesn't remove them from the server unless they are gone for a prolonged period of time. But what happens is that car on the 22 machine is still on the track. He is still racing around, and what happens, blinks on his side, he doesn't see anybody else. And when he blinks on everybody else's side, nobody else sees him. So it's very tricky to navigate that, especially if it's not a very quick blink. And we've been in many races where cars have blinked out for an entire corner, and you really don't know where that car is going to show up. And you heard right there with Michael Carpenter in the in-car interview, he had to back off because you don't know where that car is going. So it's a challenge.
You know, and on some, it depends on how quickly you're blinking, how long you're gone. It happens to all of us sometimes. And on some tracks, it's not a huge deal, but on a track like this, you know, if somebody's on for 4 or 5 seconds, for instance, the 22 there, the 78 will lose his draft, but he'll actually pick up the draft of the car in front of him and can pull right up and then have the 22 reappear, and you guys can be right on top of each other.
Exactly, and sometimes when that does happen, it won't technically register as a wreck. So we've been in many races, and hopefully you don't see it tonight on the broadcast, but there are times when the car blinks and they will actually show up inside side of another car. What happens is basically iRacing just essentially, hopefully you won't here tonight if we do see a prolonged blink out of any of these drivers, but hopefully not. 22s look pretty solid since we've been talking about him. So hopefully hopefully his connection's all good and they're able to keep going, as that 00 in that 4th spot on the bottom lane is still
certainly nosed out on more than one occasion, whether intentional to look and see what's out there, an opportunity, and see if someone would follow him, or just a little loose off 2 or 4.
And right there you could see the 22 blink, so he for about a second there, and it does cause the separation as you see the 5th car.
I thought the 00 possibly tapped the rear of the 2 and unsettled him for a little bit.
Yes, I would. That's part of the track that if you do push, you have to be very, very, very careful through that tri-oval there. It's one of the most tricky places to push a car at any racetrack on the circuit, especially in that Daytona and Talladega.
And if you're loose, the tri-oval is probably the loosest spot on the whole racetrack.
Yeah, it is. It's not like any other corner that, I mean, if you want to consider it a corner. It's not like any other part of the track. The banking's a little bit different than the banking in turn 1 and 2 and 4. The car with the air is affected differently. The way that you transition down. I mean, there's so many factors that play into that loose condition right there. As you can see the 00 back up the bumper of that number 2 machine. It's definitely a very risky game you play, pushing those cars through the tri-oval there. But as you can see, he's still pushing him. He is on his bumper.
9 making a move here in the back, trying to get around the 5 and the 78.
He's going to the high side. Definitely has a big run. He may be able to just drop right down between those cars. If I were him, that's what I would do.
And that's what he's doing. Well,
and 22 blinked.
Yeah, that's the tricky part about it is you've got a car that connection's not well for that driver, and where do you go?
Where do you go?
If he spends too much time up there, he's going to end up back where he started. I think you're right, John. He needs to drop down when he had a chance.
That door has closed.
Yes, it has, but he's keeping pretty equal as the 00 is just loose as a goose. I mean, he is all over the place, but that 19, or that number 9 rather, is all the way up to almost 3rd, just side drafting. Now, you got to remember, this 9 car is part of the 10, 2, and 19 team. So he's trying to say, hey guys, I want to get up there. I don't want it just to be me.
It looks like we need to take that car to Tech after the race.
Yeah, there's something going on there because he is keeping very strong. Very impressed with that number 9 machine up in the high line. He is
by himself.
Still right there. Yeah, right there. Just to give more context about what's going on there, he is full throttle. He's not lifting at all. He's getting simply a side draft off of the bottom line that propels him forward and pushes that bottom line down. Now, if he can sustain this, I mean, I'm surprised he's been able to sustain this for as long as he has. The closer he gets to those cars in the bottom line, the more he's going to have, and the more progress he's going to make on that high line. And there's the 22 disappearing again. Yeah, Alan Crowland, that number 9 machine's holding strong.
Yeah, but I think his speed's tailing off a bit. That leader, Kyle Milliken, we jump up to Kyle, you'll see that his dash is, I think he's over 195 miles an hour at that lead pack. No, not quite there.
No, not quite. And basically that number 9 seems to get a run off of the turn 2, pulls up to the number 2 machine, and then slowly starts to drop back once it's in 3. And we'll see what happens here. He is all by himself. Yeah. No one's going with him. I'm kind of surprised.
He had cleared the 00. He's kind of dropped back now, but yeah, he's probably going to get another run here.
That's
almost amazing. Wow.
That is amazing.
That looks like a car I want to push.
Exactly.
Yep.
If I'm one of these guys that's behind these leaders, I would jump up to that high line because you know that 9 car can hold the line. He can get a nice run.
Now the 00's cleared him. Let's see what he does now here.
He still wants that high line.
He's still on the outside.
He gotta run.
Staying up.
Gotta admire his perseverance and his dedication to the high line. Gotta say.
Well, I think there's enough bobbling happening in that top 4 cars that he's able to capitalize on that and stay with them.
Sure. And the more 2 or the 19, the closer he will get to the front. So he's playing a little game right now with those guys. You know, like you were saying, they're not nose to tail, and he's capitalizing on them not being nose to tail. As he's all the way getting a better run now. He's up to 3rd, right alongside his teammates. And we dubbed the 2 cars below that white line.
He got a bump on the 00 there.
Yeah, he sure did.
And we now have that 22 blinking out again.
Well, the nines run off of 2 is just phenomenal.
It's a little close there between. That's exactly what I was talking about. I don't know if I want to be beside that condition like that coming off of turn 4 or turn 2. But like you said, yeah, he's been able to keep it up there nice and strong. But still, Kyle Milliken still leading the race here with the number 19, Justin Dilton 2nd, Sakochi in 3rd. You have the 00 there in 4th, and the number 9 rounding out the top 5.
Hey, he really needs a drafting partner. They could run right up to the front.
The run he gets off of 2 every time is just huge.
It is huge, yeah, absolutely.
And that 00 is right on the 2's bumper. It's making me a little bit nervous how close he gets. I know he's trying to propel that bottom line forward, but I mean that number 9 is just doing it all by himself. The one thing that I would be a little bit worried about is that number 9 is wasting the same amount of gas as that leader is right now. He has to be full throttle. So
that's a good point, John.
Will we see a little bit of difference in the pit strategy if nobody goes out there? Because he's been up there for about 10 laps now. So, 10 laps with no lifting at all, it'll cause you a little bit of mayhem. As you can see, the cars get a little loose there. It'll cause you a little bit more fuel loss as he's pulling up to the 2 than the rest of the leaders behind that 10 machine. So we'll see what happens as we are now making our way to lap number 80. That is 30 to go here tonight in the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series, Alice Mike 275. Kyle Milliken has been commanding this race basically since the green flag, one stage 1, one stage 2, and he looks to be the strong car as that number 9 machine now made his way beside the 2 car. So slowly but surely, he's making his way up through the field. Yeah. Oh, and the 2 jumped to the high side. Drop back down. A little jockeying for Rose there, but we saw that 00 get loose again, guys, I believe.
Yeah, he's definitely what I would say is like push loose off turn 2 and off turn 4.
As the 22 now is to the number 9 machine there on the high line. Still committed to the high line.
Double zero dropped below the 2. Now back up to his bumper. And wheel for wheel with the 9 there. Going into 3.
What a run. What a run by the 9. I don't know if there was a checkup or something, but that 9 is almost to the right rear corner panel of that 19 machine. And he's there. I mean, he is there, guys. He is taking charge all by himself. Now, he's in a great position right now because he is among the leaders. Now, leaders as in the first and second place car, so he's going to have a constant side draft where before the 2 and the 00 were not really that close for him to do that. he is now lurking to take the lead away as the bottom line still is dysfunctional. And wow, he dropped down.
He is now in second position. Fabulous. Great move. Absolute great move. And that leaves the 00 as the odd man out, which is, with that loose of a car, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, he's been watching the 9. He said if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, they're getting racy up there as you. He's getting the same kind of run that number 9 did, because that bottom line is now.
Oh, contact!
Save it! Save it! Save it! Whoa! Come on, bring it back up. Oh, let him, Mike go. Okay, he saved it. We're all good here. Wow.
I think I saw the 78 tap the wall a bit, but the safer barrier kept them going forward and safe.
Yes, and there's a lot of chatter going on.
Well, there's a challenge for the lead right now with the 00.
Yeah, that 00, I gotta say, that was, I don't believe he was clear of that number 9 machine, but number 9 was able to keep it straight and keep it on the track, and there was no wreck.
Yeah,
number 9
split up the guys in the back a little bit. The 5 has been able to hang on to the lead draft. The 9 and the 77 are about a second back from the lead pack. They're going to have to work hard to get back up here.
Yeah, they will. They should be able to catch it, though, just because of how unorganized this top pack has become. And you have a lot of takers. You have the, I believe, is that the number 2 machine jumping to the high side? Number 2 is going to try to do what his teammate did and go up to second.
Here comes the 9 again.
Yep, the 9's charging back.
Engine number 9. Don't look out now, but those are 2 teammates on the high line there going to be synced up.
Yeah, Alan's going to get up here and push Mark now. Let's see how this goes.
And I believe they are teammates, correct? I don't want to be incorrect about this, Elliot. Those are teammates between the 2, 9, 10, and the 19.
Yes, they are.
Okay, perfect.
Elevated Motorsports.
Elevated Motorsports. Okay, just to double check. I see all of the numbers are very similar with those 3, I guess if you want to call them spikes, on the second number there, and the 2 does not have that, obviously, because it's a single number car. So that's what I was questioning, just to double check. And as you can see, it is the Elevated Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 6, however you want to call that. They're commanding the high line, they are commanding the bottom line, and they have really taken control of this race. As the 00 is peeking beneath the 19. 19 left the door open. Very dangerous place to leave the door open as he's pushing the 19. Oh, that 9, it was loose.
I think that's what happened. I think he got a big shove from the 00, and kind of got him out of shape.
I would agree, and we do have to remember we are now at 25 laps to go here tonight. They are going to be within the fuel window here in about 10 to 15 laps. So have to be very careful getting on the pit road, especially double file, as we see the high line is still pretty solid up there, since we have a pack of about 8 cars right now, a pack of 8 or 9, making their way around turn 1 and 2, with Kyle Milliken still commanding this lead. He's like, you guys can stay right here in the bottom line. I just want to win this race.
The 2 and the 9 are coming. Not much quicker than the 1 car when he was the 9 car when he was by himself, but they're definitely coming on the outside.
Which is interesting, because you would think they would be much faster.
Well, there's a pretty good gap between them there, so they're not pushing too much.
I think their biggest friend right now is the 00, who keeps tapping and taking the air off the 19 and getting him a bit loose.
Yeah, he bump draft the 2 car a couple laps back on the back stretch, and it looked like a clean bump draft to me, and it got the 2 out of shape. And then he kind of did the same thing to the 19 there, so I assume the 2 and the 19 are running set up so close to the same.
And
so
but leaders jumped up to the top line. I wonder if this is a pit strategy. I would assume it is, but now taking 4, leaving the 00 and the 22 on the bottom line, and that 00 is now your leader here coming out of turn 4 at Daytona. So you see
really our first lead change.
Yeah, it is one of our first lead changes outside of what happened to Crowder on lap 1. But that 00 has now taken the lead.
Yeah, but look at the run with the 78 and the 5. That's Thomas Thompson and Michael Carpenter. They have now challenged up at the front.
I wonder if the Elevated Motorsports team is in fact going to make a run down pit road here. I would assume so. They've dropped to the back.
Yep.
This seems to be very orchestrated among the team. As we have a car, 00's in the wall, 00's in the wall. Don't know what happened there.
I think he's trying to wind his way back. Yep.
As we have
there they
takers.
go. There they go.
Whoa, wind it down. Come on, team. Blocking it up. Everybody seems to be safe. And there is our pack. There is a 5-car pack right now, leaving a 4-car pack on the track. So this is going to be very interesting to see what the rest of these drivers do, because it does look like they almost, in fact, split this as the 00 is sliding into his pit stall. I believe he made it.
We shall see. 19 is out. 00 is out. They just took fuel.
Wow, that is a big distance between those two drivers, though. The rest of their team is just now making their way off the pit road. That is a big gap for them.
Yeah, there must have been a penalty or something, and this group here is going to follow suit. What they've done here is pretty much split the stage in half, made for a faster pit stop, just getting gas here.
Absolutely, as the 2-car is now all by himself on the track. The 2-car seems to be the only one out of that top 5 that had any issues.
Michael Carpenter missed his stall bad. He's still backing up, going forward. He's just now getting all by himself here.
Yeah, Cart missed it, but you know, the 2's mishap on pit road may help out Carpenter right now. Though I'm watching the 2-car on our relatives. The 2-car is making his way around 3 and 4. Maybe he can catch him. I don't know, but you have a lot of 2-car tandems right now working their way off. Yeah, I don't think the number 2 of Sikochi is going to be able to catch Carpenter. So you're going to have, I believe, multiple 2-car packs.
With 20 laps to go, this could be a very interesting finish.
Yes, it could. Right now, you have Ty Boss in the lead with, I believe he's in the lead.
He is. Ty Bostic is showing in the lead. And he did went into the pits on lap 90, so he is good to go.
He is good to go. And looking at the leaderboard right now, you have a 3-car pack, essentially, with Thompson, Milliken, and Dilt. It looks like Milliken and Dilt are going to pass the Thompson machine. And there they go. 2 teammates right there. I'm assuming pick up the 78, and the 78 is going to pick them up. And after that, you have Dan Withers, Crowell, Aaron, and Carpenter in essentially a 4-car pack. So you have a 3-car pack and another 3-car pack, potentially going to be a 4. This is going to be a very interesting race to finish, guys. You have a lot of cars that are by themselves or 2 cars, but right now, Bostic is a sitting duck out there in P1.
He is, and they're running him down over a second per lap, so there's a very good chance with 18 to go, by lap 16, he will be run over by this 4-car freight train coming up behind him.
Yeah, they're going to catch him pretty quick. If he can grab onto the 3 cars, of course, we'd have a 4-car train with Kyle Milliken and Justin Dilth as teammates, and then Ty Bostic and Thomas Thompson would also be 2 teammates together.
Yeah, but don't look now. The 5th through 8th place positions are making faster ground on the leader than that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place pack due to the number of cars and due to the spacing. So I would imagine that 4-car pack may catch the leaders here in P1 through P4. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I believe it will happen as we see a pass for the lead. Milliken, Diltz, high line, 22, low line, and Kyle Milliken has regained the lead at Daytona. What a run for that number 10 team. He has been strong since the beginning, and now let the race play out. You have the 5th through 8th place cars about 4 seconds behind this pack now. It's too far away to pull on the draft, but they are making very slow gains. Very slow gains now, so they may be able to catch them.
Yeah, the 00 of Josh Aaron is definitely pushing the 9 car hard.
Let's jump back to that pack.
Made up about a half a second that lap, so do the math there for me, John.
So it looks like they will potentially catch them in about 6 to 7 laps.
Putting us with 10 laps to go.
Oh! We've seen that before, haven't we?
Yeah. I still think it didn't show when we were on his in car, but I think it's what I call push and loose, where it's got the wheel cranked over coming out of the turn, and then back end just all of a sudden whips around on you.
Yeah, it's a very interesting setup that 00 has. A little bit, but not so much to where it almost seems like your wheel is just always turning. That just, from a visual standpoint, guys, and even right there, it just looks a little bit off.
Yeah, even with that bobble that they had, they made up a 10th a second. But they're gonna have to stay
we're riding along with Michael Carpenter here behind the 00.
Yeah, he has a similar offset too. Very interesting. It's going to be a mad dash to the finish right now. As long as those guys stay nose to tail in that 00, keep that car from just tailing out of the corners, you're going to see an A-car battle here with more than likely about 6 or 7 to go.
Oh yeah, another half a second that lap.
Yep, they are down to 3.1 seconds and closing. They are definitely the preferred pack right now.
That 00 just dipped off the apron a little bit, onto the apron a little bit there. But
and you can see right there.
Yeah, they've closed that gap to about 2.5 seconds with 14 laps to go here at Daytona in the Alice Mike 275 with the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series.
As that second pack closes up the floor, one thing I do want to keep in mind, it doesn't matter where the leader is on the track. All that matters is them catching the 78's toe. Right now, they're about 2 seconds back. So I expect once they get close to about a second, you're going to see that close rate become significantly faster, and you will see them jump to the high side. I think they're going to have such a run that to just make their way back up to the back of that pack, they're going to have to go to the outside.
Well, I think I think they've caught it.
You're right, John. That'll be interesting when they get there, because they're definitely going to have a run. And
yeah,
there's only 4 cars in the front pack too. So
they're wrecking.
He saved it.
Saved it. Wow. Okay, change of plans, guys. We have 2 out of the top 4 that wrecked, but they kept it straight. Closing in on the 10 and the 19 machine. What are they going to do? They are locked nose to tail. Coming out of turn 2 with 12 laps to go, they have the run. The outside.
But the 9 is a teammate.
Wow, the 9 did what the teammate would typically do there. He locked up with his team, leaving the 00 and the number 5 up in the high line. There's the only 2 cars there. So it is a battle between Elevated Motorsports, the 00, and the 5. If potentially that 77 of Dan Withers can catch them. But this is the race stay in line with these guys. They seem to know exactly what their plan is, and I like their plan. So we'll see what happens here. But I would imagine with Mike and the 00 being the only 2 cars up there, it's going to be, I don't know if I would push me, but that's just my thoughts. I know his car's very we've seen him get into the back of some guys before, and it makes that front car even looser. So we'll see what happens. as that 77 is right there. Dan Withers is about a second back, slowly closing in. He's barely on the toe of this lead pack, so if he can catch up, that's going to give more ammunition to the 5 and more ammunition to the 00, and maybe they make it a 3-car battle between Elevated Motorsports and the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's showing about 3/4 of a second behind right now.
I believe that 77 may get there, as long as these leaders don't push too hard. That 77 is going to catch back up. Awesome run by Dan Withers there after getting in the wall on the pace lap. Unfortunately, he's able to keep that car straight and challenge for a win here, as we are now down to 9 laps to go in the Alice Mike 275. Who's going to bring it home? I can't. I don't even know. I mean, if I had to choose, if I had to place a bet right now, I'd say some of those Elevated Motorsports guys, because they are elevating their way to the top. I had to say that. It's too good of a chance. But
it's tight. It's tight.
Well,
But you know, at the end there, you're a teammate. But you know, if you're in position for the win, you take the win.
yeah, I mean, you saw what happened in the Daytona 500 between Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney. They were teammates. Cindric put the block on him, put him into the wall. So, I mean, it's definitely, super speedway racing is nothing. It's not like any other track, not like any other racing on the planet, and it doesn't really matter who your teammate is. You just want to win that race, because, like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, literally, if you are not first, it doesn't matter. You are last. It doesn't matter if you're second, third, fourth, fifth. It feels like you're not even should be even contending for the win at that point. So it's all every man for himself.
Dan Withers has caught the pack, so we'll have the 3 elevated cars and then the other 3, so maybe they can make a run at him here.
Maybe they will. There is a lap car that they are, which will assist a little bit of a tow, but it looks like that is the Mark Sikosi machine. You saw him have some troubles on pit road, which brought him down basically all by himself on the track, and they have now caught that car. So,
well, Mark was the tail end of the lead pack, so it puts him a lap down.
If a caution does come out, though, he will be the first car lap down, and we do have 3 green-white checkers tonight in case something does happen at the end of this race. So got to keep that in mind. So you never know; it may not be. As we are now making our way out of 4 to come to 6 to go, Milliken is still out front. He is, I think we've said that almost every single time we've gone through these leaders. Seems like he's always up there in the front, followed by Justin Dilton in second, Alan Crow in third, Michael Carpenter in fourth, Josh Aaron in fifth, Dan Withers in sixth, and Thomas Thompson seventh, and Bostic rounding out the top 8.
But Kyle has definitely led the most laps. It'll be interesting to see if his teammates let him stay there or if they try to go around him here at the end here.
Six laps to go here at Daytona.
The 2 cars latched onto this group. We'll see if he stays back there or if he likes to be a little bit of a spoiler.
We shall see. I mean, we do know he is a part of that Elevated Sports team, so who knows? Is he play a factor? Who wins this race?
Yeah, he's not really in a position to help his teammates. He can just not push the other guys if he wants.
Right, which in return is actually possibly helping them. Because if to beat those 1, 2, and 3 cars right there, 3 cars are going to do it just due to how tight that number 10, 19, number 9 are, especially since they're teammates as well. So, who knows? He may try to go to the high side. But
So,
as of right now,
do you look at the 9 and say, is he holding back a little bit to hold that line behind him back?
I don't know, but we're about to see things get a little bit dicey here. I would maybe trying to pull that game. You may be right there, Rick, as the gap has closed between the 5 and the 00. The 00 is all over Carpenter's rear bumper, saying, "Hey, Carp, we got to go. It's about to be 3 to go, boss. We need to get to the front."
Somebody's going to pull out, or you're just going to follow nose to tail across the finish line in the current order.
Exactly, but we have seen what side drafting has produced. I would not rule out a side draft win. That could potentially be what potentially could be the battle for the win here and the move.
You know, I don't know if the 9's doing it for himself or if he's trying to hold the 5 and the 0 back, but he's definitely laying off the 19 a little bit.
Yes, he is.
You know, might be a good time. Somebody send a message down to the 5 car, have him lay back about a half a second here and get a run and make a move on the outside here.
Yep, and you see the number 2 machines going to the outside position, but that will affect the draft of that 77. We are now coming to 2 to go here in the NSRL Grand National Series. Carpenter,
there's the move,
has started. Carpenter's going to the high line with the 00 of Aaron behind them, and the battle is on for this race. You have Carpenter high line, Milliken 2 by 2 by 2, and the 2 cars, top 4 cars right now, as they, 00 is on the bumper of Michael Carpenter, coming to the white flag. You have 3 cars on the bottom, 3 cars on the top. Who's going to bring it home? We are now at the white flag. Next flag will end this race.
Oh, this is
Here
records
at
and
Daytona.
checkers here.
Yes, it is. Oh, 19 jumps to the high side in front of.
I want the win. We'll see.
It's an I want the win, I imagine.
3 wide.
3 wide. There's no help for the 00 behind him. The 10's getting up from the number 9. The 5 is all over the 19 bumper as we now come into 3 and 4. 19 is still in the high line. He's going to have to block 2 lanes. He has to make a choice here. What is he going to do? 00 gets into Michael Carter, wrecks the field.
Oh, good.
And
19's going to bring it home here, yeah.
Justin Diltz brings it home.
Who's going to cross the line second here, fellas?
I don't know.
believe
There's a lot of damage going on.
There's a lot of cars. That is Alan Crowell, I believe, took home the 2nd place finish. Withers in 3rd, Aaron in 4th. I don't know if Carpenter's going to be able to finish it.
He's coming across right now, yep.
I believe Carpenter beat Milliken to the line for 5th. I don't know for sure.
I'm showing it the other way around. Kyle beat him by about 3 seconds.
Jeepers. What a finish.
What a finish, guys.
I think we
That's
talked about
Daytona
records
for you.
or checkers. That was absolutely what we saw here.
Yes, we did. Rick, let's see if we can get a replay of that final.
Oh, we've got it. Let's just back it up a bit. Let's back it up just a little bit more because they were certainly nose to tail.
Let's take a closer look at this, and I believe that may have been 00. I think correct. We've seen him get into the back of some of these guys all race, and it's not been good.
All right,
let's ride along here.
Let's ride along right now.
You called it, Rick. It was wreckers or checkers, and that 00 was definitely going for the win. He looks like he got into the 5, got him a little loose, and at that point on, that nose was there, and he slid up a little bit, got into the 5.
Right there, yeah.
Yep, 10 had nowhere to go. Tim got clipped, hit the outside retaining wall, and went absolutely airborne.
Ends up on his lid after leading almost the entire race.
Oh gosh.
You know what, guys? That looks very familiar to what happened to Ryan Newman. Not in the exact same spot, but same kind of accident where he was just in a product of the wrong situation and hit the outside wall, and it flipped him over. And unfortunate for Kyle Milliken, but he did bring it home in the 5th position. So he actually finished in the top 5. I know that's not the one he was for, but Milliken did bring it home in 5th.
So it looks like our results are in, and Justin Diltz will be our winner in the 19, followed by Alan Kroll in the 9. Dan Withers with the Southern Esports team in 3rd. Josh Aaron in 4th. Kyle Milliken, after leading pretty much the entire race at each stage, finishes in 5th. Michael Carpenter in 6th. Ty Bostic in 7th. And Thomas Thompson is in 8th. A lap down, Mark Sakoshi is in 9th. Chris Robley in 10th. And then the rest of our competitors, Don DeGroot, Brandon Berrier, Ryan Chapman, Kenneth Bradstock, and Ashton Crowder.
What an inaugural, what an exciting race to the finish. We knew it was going to be a wild one, and we definitely got that tonight. And I expect this to be a fantastic season for all of these Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series drivers here, brought to you by all of their wonderful sponsors. And wow, what a race to the finish, guys.
Yeah, I think we can probably bring our 3rd place finisher, Dan Withers, into the broadcast booth. Let me see if I can raise Dan on the radio. Dan Withers, are you there?
Howdy.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Well, having a better night than I expected from the first stage.
Congratulations on your finish.
The end, and gotta ask, what happened at the start of the race? We saw you get into the outside wall, and we were worried you were going to be down from the beginning. What happened?
Oh, it has to do with the cat and under my feet and dropping the phone, kicking him out of there.
Yeah, the cat under the feet trick always does it. But amazing turnaround, finishing there. Very impressive run for you, making your way methodically through the field. So congratulations on a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, thanks. All practice, I had a really fast car all week when we were doing our testing. I was very happy with the car, and my strategy was to stay back, stay out of trouble for the first 2 stages, because I know I had a car that I could get up there if I stayed clean, and of course I ruined that before the race even started, but here I am.
So it's all about how you finish, that's for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much, Dan. And place, we're going to have Alan Kroll, who was our 2nd place finisher.
He's in the queue, Rick.
Absolutely, yep. Alan, congratulations on your 2nd place finish.
Thanks. It was, well, at the end of it, it was more of a survive and not get stuck on the wall.
Yeah, that race was absolutely wild. You had a solid run with all of your teammates up there, and then coming out of 4, it was just a complete mess. But awesome finish in 2nd. How is the strategy when you have that many teammates up there? We saw some moves between you guys, give and take a lot of times. So was that planned throughout the entire race to kind of be there at the end, all 4 together?
Yeah, we try to get ourselves all together, make together, all have the same setup pretty much. We know, hey, you can't push if there's another guy in front. Some of the other people that we race with don't know that, so we try to stick together and not plow each other over. So.
Well, we definitely saw some significant pushing off of 2 and in the tri-oval, which was a little bit hairy, especially as the race wore on.
Yeah, but that is plate racing. It gets more intense the later the race gets.
Alan, we were admiring your speed there in the end of the 2nd stage or the beginning of the last stage. I'm not sure. You came from about 8th or 9th place all by yourself up on the high side and managed to work your way all the way up to 2nd there.
That shocked us all. I'm like, well, I'm going to try to get up there to get with them because we were planning on pitting instead of them dropping back. I was like, well, everyone keeps on jumping out just a little bit. If I can get a draft off of them, I can pull up to them and then get the run and keep going, and it kept going.
Yeah, it was amazing how much horsepower we were for as many laps as you turned on that outside by yourself. you kept pace with the leader, and they were in the draft, and your expertise in the side draft certainly helped you out there for sure. Plus the horsepower you had in the vehicle.
Yeah, we were all talking in our team chat. We couldn't believe no one pulled up there just because I did it, and they were aggressively wanting to go, but at least some of them were. But as soon as I got by them, they didn't want to go.
Exactly. That's what we were saying. We couldn't believe it, and you did such a. We were like, why wouldn't you want to go with a guy that's able to almost take his car all the way to the lead by himself? Just amazing job.
Yeah, I did have a sketchy part there whenever I got a little door bang there at the end, but ran right back up to him. So can't thank Speed Demon setups enough and Kyle for tweaking on.
Congratulations, and you did an awesome job coming in second here at the inaugural race for the Speed Demon Grand National Series here at Daytona.
Well, thank you guys for broadcasting this.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's see if we can grab our winner. Let's even bring him up to the broadcast booth. Justin.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, congratulations on your victory. That was a wild ride.
Hey, thank you very much. That's actually my first NSRL victory. So I am overly excited. And I'm glad that it come in, the Grand National Series. Put in a lot of work, a lot of recruitment racing, a lot of meeting people, trying to get them interested. Got to thank you guys for being involved and everybody here to race against. So definitely excited to get a win here, especially at Daytona as well, first race this season.
Absolutely. Walk us through that last lap there. You were behind Kyle there coming to the white flag, and you pulled out to go to the high line, and it obviously prevailed. So walk us through what you were thinking there, and obviously you saw the mayhem unfold behind you with cars flipping upside down. Walk us through your thoughts.
All right, sports. We are strong this year. We're coming out the gates with some awesome super speedways cars and trucks. So of course we ran the duels and stuff last week. We had a great showing in the duels. Kyle actually should have won a duel, if I do recall. But he's had an awesome showing. So going into this last lap, focusing on pushing Kyle to the win. And we had Alan lined up there behind me as well, and actually all EMS cars there. So we were looking for a 1-2-3 finish. When they jumped to the outside, we definitely had a plan for Alan to go up with them, but we didn't get out. Alan didn't get out in front of him in time. So we really started pushing going to that last lap. And I actually, I want to say it was going into going to that last lap there. I was actually about to blow up. My gauges started blinking red. I said to Kyle, hey, I'm about to blow up. I got to back off a little bit. Alan says, hey, you're clear on the high side, jump up. So I jumped up on the high side, and Carpenter, he just stayed right with me and kept pushing me. And Kyle, me and him were going for it. And then, he got clipped there. Awesome racing. I mean, I don't know how it looked on the broadcast, but, man, I was shaking.
It was pretty awesome here.
Yeah, it was as intense as it could get, especially with just everybody wrecking behind you, Justin. But amazing run tonight. Hate to see that from some of your teammates, but you did bring home the win, which is always important.
Hey, the showing, not only by my teammates, but the whole field and everybody racing tonight. We had this is what it's about, and we had so much fun. So looking forward to this very long and fun season here, all across the board for NSRL as well, but especially this Grand National Series, because we got some guys in here that like to do technical racing, and there was some technical racing tonight too. A lot of guys laid back and only raced towards the end of the stages, and man, that stuff impresses me with these guys, man. They really want to get technical and race, man. So this series is going to be on fire this year. So I'm glad you guys are a part of it, and let's keep going, boys.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. And again, congratulations on your win here at the Alice Mike 275 at Daytona.
Hey, appreciate you guys. We're going to go celebrate, man. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Man, I love his energy. I want to talk to him again next week. Wow, that was awesome.
Well, you just may. You never know. They
Never
were
know.
absolutely a strong team and a strong team showing with those guys at Elevated Motorsports. They were hooked up as individuals and as a team, and they took advantage of it. They certainly did, especially where it counted. Stage breaks, and here a victory at the end. So I guess I want to congratulate Justin on his victory here. Again, at the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series event, first race of the season here at Daytona in the Alice Mike 275, followed by our second place driver of Alan Crowell and third with Dan Withers. I want to thank you for tuning in. My name is Rick Souza, and thank you for hanging out with us. And we'll hope to see you next week here again for the next race in this series.
Next week we'll be at Rockingham for 197 laps.
Yeah, Rockingham. That's a fun track. Obviously, it's not an active circuit in the Xfinity Series or in the Grand National Series or in the Cup Series. So it's going to be a fun track, not a typical track that people go to. So tune in next week, same time, same channel, in the IWM Broadcast Network for next week's coverage of the NSRL Grand National Series. This is John and Rick and Elliot there. Obviously, great having you in the booth too here tonight.
All right. Thank you and good night.